Hello and welcome back to the Monsters of Monster Hunter Double Cross, where today we're going to be playing with Gore Magala, the only monster of the question mark classification. And in case you don't believe me, I'm just going to whip out this monster list right here, and then we'll go down here, and would you look at that? So here we've got a flying wyvern. Here we've got a question mark. And here we've got a fanged beast. So yeah, that's its type. Question marks. Though honestly, I feel like they could just go ahead and change that to Elder Dragon already. Considering that Gore Magala has been around for a while now. Like in Monster Hunter 4 and maybe even 4U, it fits with the story to have it be unknown until you get to a certain point and realize that, oh, it's the juvenile form of Shigara Magala. But then in later games where it's not a key story point, I feel like, yeah, just call it an Elder Dragon. Though that would mean that they'd have to make it not capturable anymore, because you're not supposed to capture Elder Dragons. So who knows? But they should at least be willing to admit that it's not just some mystery. It is a juvenile Elder Dragon. And they can't take that away. Also, I mean, hey, might as well grab the stuff up here. Oh, the bugs we can leave alone. And we're using Guild Greatsword just because. It's what I used when doing my challenge run in 4U, so I figure, hey, not my first time using what is effectively Guild Greatsword. I just said Grade Sword. Gotta actually get the T's to be T's and not D's. Yeah, not my first time using basically Guild Greatsword against a Gore Magala. So I am a little bit out of practice. And I still need to realize that Greatsword does not have the reach that I want it to. Well, missed with the round slash, but that's okay. Ow. That explosion's hitbox is a little larger than I expected it to be. Let's go ahead and get some of this action going. Admittedly not the greatest timing ever, but we do have the effect going, and the glowy eyes is kind of interesting. Oh, thank you, cat. Got my hit in. If I had gone for a full charge, I wouldn't have, so hey, could be worse. I do have effectively 3 pit traps to use against this guy, so I'm not going to start using them until after he frenzies, because I do want to break those feelers. So yeah. I mean, hey, if he's just giving me this opportunity, I'm going to take it. 3 hits. Though, admittedly, not quite so many free hits as I wanted. And he's mad again. So there's some interesting things going on with Gore Magala. I mean, first of all, there's its whole frenzy mechanic, and I'm not even talking about like the frenzy status. I'm talking like how he enters his own frenzy mode. It's based on a combination of time and the amount of damage he's taken. And as time passes and he takes more damage, like that glow on the inside of his wings starts glowing brighter and then goes from blue to purple. And then once it's fully done, he'll enter his frenzy mode, during which he cannot leave an area until the frenzy ends, and he can't leave the frenzy until you do enough damage to him and then hit him in the face once. So that's a rather unique mechanic that Gore has. Definitely pay attention to the glow as the quest progresses, because it will change colors and whatnot. And it'll be gone once he's dead. So that's another reason to take a close look at it. Oh, doing a swag walk, are we? I see we both missed each other. Ow. Ordinarily, I also save mounts for when they're frenzied, but meh. I'm using a greatsword. Getting mounts is a good way to get in certain types of damage. Like charged attacks on this tail here. But I think I let that go too early. Oh, hey, a pit. And apparently we flinched him into the trap. Ow. I'm still amazed that I managed to beat 4U without carding using a greatsword, because this weapon inspires me to get so greedy. And as we can see, the glow is now purple. So he's close to frenzy. Just not quite there yet. Oh, another thing that builds it up is when you take things that would cause frenzy to build up on you. So, like, when he hits you with his attacks, or if you stand in the little frenzy aura things. Ow. Okay, let's get these feelers. I still have to wonder what made them decide that its breath attack when frenzied should spread out to the sides. It's the only breath attack that I'm aware of in the entire series that does that. Let's go ahead and get this shock down as well. And Gore was all too willing to get into it. So I positioned myself poorly, and thus we didn't get the feelers, though I guess we did. Question is, have we done enough damage to them that one more hit will break the frenzy and thus get us a sparkly? Usually you can tell it's about to happen because you get a face flinch, and it looks like it's not about to happen just yet. Let's go ahead and make another pit here, just because we can. And I'll go ahead and use this. Ow. Thank you, cat. No thank you, Konshu. So let's also sharpen up. Ow. Darn paw. And you know what? Just for giggles. Oh, nice tail flinch. Okay, fine. You can yell at me. And just for giggles, let's use our Hunter Art combo with this pit trap. Dang it. Of course that was going to happen. I remember the first time I fought Gore Magala. It hit like a truck because I was a little undergeared. Ow. That attack in particular is its strongest attack, and yep, it definitely hits hard when you're fighting a hyper one. So I know that at this point, if we do any more damage to the face, it'll leave Frenzy because we got that face flinch. And I'm just wondering, in previous games, paintballs have done 1 damage because they, well, I guess we don't get to test, because they needed to do damage in order for their effect to apply. And I was wondering if in this game that would still be the case. I don't think it would, but it would be funny. I would laugh. Incidentally, the reason building up your own frenzy is what enables the gore to frenzy, is because it's actually basically it applying the frenzy on you is just a side effect of the way this thing sees the world. Dang it. Because I mean, if you look at it, you can see that it doesn't have visible eyes. They're probably under the shell somewhere, but they aren't visible is the point. So it's blind. And it doesn't use heat receptors either. It is somehow able to sense things that are in contact with the hairs that it sheds, which just happen to carry the frenzy virus, and those hairs are what cause these little swirling auras. And yeah, so basically if it gets a really good idea of exactly where you are, it goes frenzy and tries to kill you. Just get hits. I'm whiffing too much. Admittedly, partially because I get greedy and always, well, not always, but frequently go for level 3 charges when I really oughtn't. Interesting seeing those be enlarged by the hyper status. Shame I needed to heal, because that would have been a great time for a charge. Of course, now we also get one. And I missed because of the type of attack it was using. But oh well. Such is life. I actually got a surprising amount of breaks on this guy for how much I've been whiffing. But I guess the greatsword does excel in one thing, and that's doing a lot of damage per hit. And we are about to be... Yep, there it is. We are frenzied. So, frenzy... When you get frenzied against a hyper monster, it's actually an interesting little wrinkle. Because the hyper status, what it does is if you get hit by an attack using a hyper part, it does more damage, but all the additional damage is red health. And frenzy makes it so that you don't get red health. So, for example, that attack did more damage than it otherwise would have, and instead of getting the extra recovery health, we got nothing. So it's actually a rather dangerous combo. I'm glad they don't have it on more dangerous monsters. It's not to say Gore's a pushover, but there are definitely monsters that I would be more afraid of dealing with that on. Like, for example, if they had Frenzied Bracky and then Hyper Frenzied Bracky in this game, that would be terrifying. I want to sever that tail. Missed by a hair. The one time I try and block something with the greatsword in this hunt, it misses anyway. I guess I'm not allowed to hit the tail right now. If only I had earplugs. There are definitely some weapons better able to take advantage of earplugs than others. Greatswords are definitely among those weapons. It's an animation that keeps a monster still for a certain duration of time, and that if you have the right skill, you're allowed to do whatever you want during. Yeah. Also, we can see now that the glow is purple, but it's not a very bright purple. So he's getting close to, but still not quite very close to the frenzy. Like, there's still a ways yet to go. Oh, I guess it got bright purple while we weren't looking there. The darkening of the environment is caused by like a cloud of the hairs being released or something. At least that's what it's supposed to be. And it's also much more visible in this area than it was in the last area where this thing frenzied. Come on, buddy. That's what I wanted to see. There we go. Took a lot of damage to do it, but did a lot of damage in return. Would have gotten killed if I hadn't done a Superman dive right there, though. And I have health concerns that need addressing. But I am going to make use of the base camp to address them. And hey, free curatives. And another shock trap. That could help us get the tail. And getting the tail is exactly the kind of thing I want to do. And since this thing is frenzied, it is incapable of leaving this area. And SP mode giving speed setup is pretty nice. So it's probably not going to be too long before we can get rid of this frenzy. Considering we did get some good hits in during the trap. Though you can also tell when a frenzy is ready to end because the purple glow will stop being so bright. Like maybe this flashing is that. Maybe it's just sometimes I look and it's not there at all, but I'm pretty sure it does get dimmer to signify that the frenzy is ready to end. Yep, that's what the flashing was. Okay. Okay, bye. It's always weird just seeing them blink out of existence when they reach their transition. Ow. Can probably manage to swing another ride. Especially if this thing's so cooperative and just staying right here under this ledge. Though missing doesn't help. Thanks, cat. And now it's being less cooperative. Ow. Well then. That was not a good time to be stunned. Probably could have saved myself without the stun. But hey, whatever. That's just one cart out of 3. I like how they just dump you into the water completely submerged. Like, they could have at least dumped you onto dry land or into shallower water. But no, they dump you into water that is deep enough that you can be completely submerged when dumped out. That's a super nice thing to do to someone who is unconscious at the time. I feel like these cats, well, they've got a lawsuit coming their way if they don't change their ways. Or maybe that's part of the quest acceptance thing. We sign a release. Yo, buddy, I want you over near this ledge. Can you do that for me? Also, I want you to do like a breath attack. That'll work. Okay. Was kind of hoping it would actually be the triple breath. I jumped the gun. Okay, bye. Ow. Ow. I'm not gonna say that Conga didn't deserve that. That little frenzy thing hitting it. Also, did they like give the Gore Magalas baths or something? Because the fact that Gore and Shag are in this game, but the frenzy doesn't apply to other monsters, is a little weird. Though admittedly, using a particular hunter art, you can make it apply to you. You can choose to give yourself the frenzy, which is kinda odd. And sounds dangerous. But then again, it wouldn't be the first time that a character in a Capcom game had experimented with a virus and its combat applications. Feel like they've kind of got a whole other series that's literally about exactly that. Incidentally, when Gore Magala, well, not Gore Magala, but when the Frenzy virus was first revealed, the fact that the monsters kind of like fall asleep before actually succumbing to it in 4U and 4 made a lot of people think, oh, is this vegan zombie monsters? Are they putting Resident Evil in my Monster Hunter? And turns out, no. They weren't dying first. They were just kind of falling asleep, and then the virus was doing its work. Like they briefly lose consciousness, and that's enough for them to also lose control. I guess. Wow. That just looked like he super pounded so hard that he didn't expect the recoil and fell over. Ow! Don't mind me. I'm just here. Gonna go ahead and drink this. I really want to find a time where he's predictably gunning for me. Okay. I mean, he was gunning for me, and I took the hit. I just whiffed. So, took a lot of red health for nothing. We're probably close to ride number 2. That would be good. Thanks, Conga. I didn't want that red health or to be conscious anyway. I hate congas. It's one thing for them to be among the more aggressive small monsters, but they're capable of launching you depending on what move they use, and they can cause stench. Like, it's just too much power for one small monster to have. And that would have been a pin had we actually taken the hit. Because Gore Magala does have one of those. It's actually an interesting one. Because it holds you in one of its wing arms while still continuing to attack other people. But I'm bad at showing off pins because usually I see them coming and I'm like, oh, don't want to be there. Of course, I didn't want to be there either, but we saw how things turned out. Ow. There's our ride. Yeah, like if you look at its glowing parts right now, you'll see that they're not flashing at all. They're staying a steady purple. So that's what lets you know that he's not ready to leave Frenzy anytime soon. There we go. Got the pin. But it got flinched, so we're just rolling around here until the game realizes that it's not actually pinning us. There we go. Yep. Ah, he's pinning the cat. That's better. So yeah. Still continues attacking us while holding the cat in that one wing arm. I don't recall if it actually throws its pin target at the end. Yep, it sure does. Shame it had to be my healer cat, but hey. Everyone thank the cat for showing us that content. By the way, that little healing pot is fantastic against Gore Magala and Shigara Magala. Because it reduces your frenzy buildup. Like, just pop on in there and it'll kill half the meter. Makes it really easy to not get frenzied as long as you just occasionally step into it. So if we poke this guy in the face, he will leave frenzy right now. Poor cat got exploded instead of actually succeeding at that cannon launch. Let's not... Okay, let's actually get hit by that, I guess. There we go. And it's going to want to leave because it almost always will leave an area once it's knocked out of frenzy. Well, so much for that. Did not get my buff. Which is a shame because I got a chance to do a level 3 charge so soon after I would have gotten it. at least managed to get to and jump off the ledge there, we would have been unable to control ourselves for a slightly shorter amount of time than the roar stun, which is a shame. Well, I also need to remember I can block roars. It's a shame Gore's footwork on those tail whips so often puts parts of it out of my reach. Get exploded by that. It's a bad idea to get exploded by things you don't have to get exploded by. Ah, that's right. Those, like, curve all the way back around. Or at least the first one does. Or the second one, rather. Yeah, the second one curves, like, almost in a complete loop. It's actually kind of silly to watch. Like, when I first saw Gore use those, I thought that they were actually homing. But no, they just have a very specific curve that sometimes makes it feel like they're homing if you're not used to it. Hey, buddy. I see you're getting ready to frenzy again. I mean, you're only blue right now, but it doesn't usually take too long for you to go from blue to purple. Ow. I really need to be doing more damage. Jump attacks are a decent source of just quick damage. If memory serves, they're akin to a level 2 charge. So, I mean, they're not bad. But I am almost certainly not going to be getting another ride during this hunt. Look at me dodging roars. Ow. And there's the full frenzy. That's not good. Ow. Especially because we are running low on healing. Whoop, whoop. Sometimes that curve catches me off guard. And that's a full frenzy on him, too. So basically, we're going to want to poke it in the face a few times, as best we can. Of course, parts other than the face are also just fine. Ow. Really just got to get in all the damage we can so that it's ready to leave Frenzy. And then we make it leave Frenzy, and I would not be surprised if once it leaves Frenzy, it is limping. That would not surprise me in the least. And I'm going to hope that that will be the case. Because considering the amount of time we have left, I don't really have time for surprises. Uh-oh. Ow. Well, this was the last of our healing that we can actually use for ourselves without revisiting the base camp. So I'm going to have to try and play at least a little smart. Do some kind of breath thing. Or a super pound not towards me. That works. It worked less than I had hoped. This isn't good. I need to stop comboing so much. It's bad for my health. Right, I was just looking for a healing item, or at least I was about to. But then remembered, I ain't got none. Also, I've only got flashes with me because they're just part of this item set. Don't read anything into it. You can't flash a Gore. See? They are blind. By default. Ow. I want my healer cat back. I also want this jerk to stop being frenzied. It's not good for my health. Or my continued survival. Where are you? Flashing? No, you're not. Seemed dim for a moment, but I guess that's just, yeah, just because of the position of its arms blocking the light coming from the rest of it. You make me sad every time you back hop out of where my greatsword's gonna go. Maybe I should have gone aerial style. Aerial greatsword is a little better at dealing with more mobile monsters. Because you jump off them and then you can do a pretty quick charge in the air. So you don't need as much time to do your charges. Though admittedly the charges I do believe do a little less damage. But the fact that you can get them so easily kind of makes up for that. Uh-oh. I should not have stepped into the poison. Because at this point in my health situation, the poison is a very real and present threat. Oh, if I only let that go just a little earlier, we would have at least gotten a hit. This isn't good. Okay, we're fine. I'm actually kind of considering just letting this thing kill me. Because that way I'll be able to go to the base camp and get some healing supplies. But then again, there's no sense just letting it kill you. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And if not, then I don't need to spend the time going for healing supplies, do I? Oh, if only I had Tremor Res. Darn poison. Just dipped my toes into it. Like, I get why they have it poison you if you just so much as touch it. But I feel like it probably shouldn't poison you, like, unless you roll in it. And hey, he is ready to leave Frenzy. Because, like, if you don't get your face submerged in it, like, if it's just your toes, then how does that get all of you poisoned? Oh, it is not limping. That is not the kind of surprise that I wanted. I didn't want any surprises. I know I haven't been doing terribly well here, but I was sincerely hoping it would at least be limping. Well, I knocked it down, and incidentally, when you knock it down while it's gliding or flying under a canopy, it actually lands on top of the canopy, which is always weird. There's actually, like, one frame during its starting to glide animation where it's at its highest point, and if you flinch it, it'll actually warp up to the ceiling and fall from there. So for a while, it seems like you've hit it out of existence, and then, like, a couple seconds later, it lands on the ground. It's really quite silly. I've only seen it happen once, but it's incredible. Also, it happened in Monster Hunter 4, so they might have fixed it, but if they haven't fixed it, then please try it at home, and if you get it to happen, do let me know, because I would love to know whether or not it still works. Okay, I guess we can be down here. Even though being up there is probably a better idea because of the whole flinches getting it stuck in the vines thing. Also, my health is not good. Of course, neither is my damage output. Okay, there we go. Finally, we die. I need to do more damage. We might time out on this thing. Admittedly, because of my own shortcomings. Been doing a lot of whiffing and a lot of not even attacking. We have spent a lot of time running from things and drinking potions rather than actually using our sword. And I feel like that's probably a pretty big part of why it was taking so long. But what do I know? I'm just some guy who is really out of practice with great swords. Ow. I've also been taking a lot of hits like that one where I've been just right at the edge of the hitbox and taking the hit because I tried to keep running rather than to actually dodge. And then there have been times like that where my sword is just barely not long enough. Someone's going to frenzy again pretty soon here. You want to land? Ow. And there's the frenzy, which means we are not going to see a limp. Pretty much guaranteed. It's not to say we won't necessarily see a kill, still very possible that we'll see one of those. Though I wouldn't bank on it at this point. So, on the possibility that we might not get a kill, I am going to discuss some texture-related things right now, like how the monster looks. When you break parts on Gore Magala, like, if you don't realize that it's a juvenile Shigar Magala, like, you think, oh, that must be, like, some bone or just the color of the shell underneath. Like, that's the usual color of broken shell bits, but, like, on the arms when you break them. But it's actually, you're starting to see the Shigaru parts, which is kind of cool. I really like that once you actually realize what the deal is, you can actually see it differently. And yeah, we have 1 minute left to kill this. It's not happening. Mark my words. As much as I would love to suddenly get a kill shot right now. Yep, there we go. Timeout. But yeah, it's a neat thing. And incidentally, per lore, Gore Magalas are like really good at escaping, and they actually only just play dead. You rarely actually kill one. So really what they're doing is using hunters as glorified back scratchers, helping them get the molting process started, which is actually kind of interesting. Basically, we give them the start they need to actually complete their transition into a Shigaru. But anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Join us next time when we actually do kill a chaotic Gore Magala. See you then, friends.